So in this short video, what we're going to look at is sidechaining. So what sidechaining is if you've got two separate sounds and they're clashing with each other, you would use the original sound, what you want to come through the mix, and then sidechain that to the other sound. So on this example, what we have is we have a single bass note, just a sustain note, and then a kick. This kick is tuned to a C note value, so if I just go into this and show you. So as you can see here, we have C9 all the way down to C1. So it sweeps down over a short period of time, which is 339 milliseconds. And then from there, that is our kick. So if I just come off of this and then just play the bass. And then now if I had the kick. You can hear the kick and the bass, they're not sitting well together. Every time the kick hits, the bass is changing. So what we can do with this is sidechain compression. So we can have multiple ways of doing this. We can do it the basic way, with just taking a compressor, dragging that onto our bass track, because this is what we want to compress. We go to here, we select our input source as kick 1, because this is where we want to get the audio from. And then once we do this, we just click on external to activate this. And then if I start playing this now, I'll bring down the threshold and you will hear the bass sort of ducking when the kick is being played. So what you can hear there is the kick coming through the mix, and then the bass is getting ducked, and then it's going to be bringing itself back up. So there are multiple settings you can use to shape how the ducking sounds. So we have the ratio, that's how strong you want the compression to act. We have different modes, so we have RMS, root mean square. This just takes an average of the waveform. Or we want peak. I'm just going to put it on peak. For this example, we have attack. So when the kick breaches the threshold level, this is when the compression will act. So this is in milliseconds. So a lot longer time you will get a very subtle effect, whereas a very quick time you'll get maybe some sort of distortion type effects because it's acting that quick. You've got some intersample peaks, and it depends on the quality of the compressor. And then you've got your release. Your release should really be dependent on your tempo, but you can do this to ear by milliseconds, or you can just set it to auto and see how it sounds. Then we've also got knee and stuff like that, but this is going down the rabbit hole. So I'm just going to keep this simple. So if I just bring this back up to 0, and then I'll bring it down again with all these settings that I've just done. And then from there, you can alter these settings to your liking to match the groove of your track. And that is basic sidechaining within your DAW. We could bring in plugins, or we could have a look at other ways of sidechaining certain things. So on this example, I'm going to use duck. So duck is the exact same principle as the compressor, but it is been more specific to sidechain compression. If I just take the sidechain from kick, so the audio is going to come into here, into this plugin. I need to now tell it what trigger mode I want it to act upon. So I'm just going to click sidechain. So when the kick comes in, you'll see that we've got a nice meter here. If we turn this further to the left, this will break the threshold. Using the amount knob is how we set the amount of how much we want to do it. So I'm just going to show you. But this plugin goes one step further. You can use this plugin to shape the curvature of your sidechain yourself. You can also look at the input. If with the sidechain on, you will see our kick, and then we can really tighten this up to where our kick stops. So you see our kick ends round about here. So if I just bring this back to there, that way I know from here my bass will be totally out of the way of the kick, and then the bass will be there. So that is bringing through my kick, and it's creating space for my kick, it's creating space for my bass. You've got this little bit at the start, but if we just bring this back to here maybe, that gets rid of that. And that is another way that you can use sidechain compression within your productions. Another way we can look at sidechain compression is by dynamic EQ. So on this example, I'll just stick with the kick and bass scenario. I've loaded up two plugins, so the Pro Q4. If I just go down to this bottom, you can see that this is the EQ for my kick, and then this one up here is the EQ for my bass. So once I press start on this, you will see that some frequencies are clashing. And they're around about this area here. So if I just click up here and I just double tap that, if I just come out of this, you will see on my bass now I have this marker set. If I just put this to bell, and then what I want to do with this is set the sidechain to the what I want it to be sidechained from. So in this example, it's going to be kick 3. And then I'm just going to slightly bring this dynamic range down. If I just click on this arrow here, you will see this come up, and then this button here. So this means the external sidechain input is coming into the actual plugin. I can use this as my threshold. So we'll see the kick signal coming in here, and then I'll just adjust it accordingly. I'm just going to bring down the gain range a bit more. So the gain range is going to be at minus 20 dB, which is quite a lot, but we'll just see how it sounds. Going too far down with the range is just going to thin out that bass a bit too much. All we're wanting to do is just let that kick poke itself through. We can also press this button here, and this will, in this area, it will allow the plugin to only pick the frequencies where it is clashing. And what you'll notice with this is that the sound or the sidechain is only happening on those frequencies that it is clashing with. It's not affecting any of the other frequencies above that. We have a lead and a vocal sound. So this lead sound sounds like this. So that lead has also got some vocals in there. And then you've got another vocal on top of it. So in this example, I want the vocals, this one here, to come through, because that is what I want people to listen to the most. If we have this over the top of it, they're just going to clash, and it's going to take our attention away from the lead vocal, and it's going to make us hear more of this. A good way to do this is to use another plugin, but in this example, it's going to be called Track Spacer. So I'm going to put this Track Spacer on the channel that I want to be sidechained. So in this example, it's going to be the lead. I'm going to set the sidechain input to vocal. And then what that's going to do is when I hit this amount button, when this plays, this is going to duck down all the frequencies that it is actually clashing with. So a bit like the EQ on the Pro Q4, This is doing the exact same, but it's just an all-in-one sort of unit for sidechaining, and it's creating space within the track. So let's just hear it out. So you can hear every time the vocal hits, it is ducking that lead down out of the way, making this shine through, and then from there you've got much more clarity within your mix. If we could then take this a step further, and if we say, right, these two, I'm happy with these two now, we could group these two together. So we'll just select the two tracks, press Command or Control and G to group these two together, and then we could use a actual sidechain on the bus. So this is the group of the lead and the vocal. We could use a sidechain on this. So let's just use the duck on this. So we've sidechained it to the kick. That's going to be what it was before. And if we just play the kick with this now. Doesn't have to be that strong. We can dial the amount back. And then that way we've got more groove happening within the actual track. So that is sidechain compression using your DAW, using plugins, using your stock plugins. There are different techniques and stuff you can use for sidechain compression, and it is solely dependent on the material that you're wanting to produce. I'm going to leave it for that in this bite-sized lesson, and don't forget to comment, rate and subscribe, and I will see you in another lesson.